Hey guys, my name is Owen and I ruptured my Achilles 3 weeks ago playing football. Full rupture. I decided to go non-operative. The gap isn't crazy. It was 2 centimeters. And then by the time I got to you could see, because it was so obvious, you could see it on the x-ray. And then by the time I got the MRI, which was 3 days later, it was minimal. It was minimal according to the orthopedic specialist, surgeon. So yeah, I decided to go non-op because it was like this latest research that I was looking at was like outcomes aren't that different. By the time I get surgery, it's not like a professional athlete or anything, so by the time I get surgery, it'll be like 2 weeks, and then that'll set me back, and then you've got all the complications from surgery and wound healing and all of that. So I said, screw it, let me go non-operative. I also own a gym, and we specialize in injuries and coming back and learning how to move again. So in a weird, perverted way, I was kind of like interested in the recovery process and what that would look like. Like everybody, I'm super nervous. Like, I'm nervous about whether I'm making the right decision. I'm reading all these comments and being like, I was at this time and I was in that time, and obviously there's no set time because there's no set individual, right? Everybody's different ages, different diets, different sleeping habits, different activity levels beforehand. All of these things mean a different outcome for everybody. So I'm just trying to stick to the idea, and the idea for me was 2 weeks of complete non-weight bearing. I was lucky to know exactly what happened the second it happened. So within an hour, I was already in a splint, and then I was in the Vacoped within a week. So I didn't move first 2 weeks. Didn't move, just kept it up, was disciplined about that. And then come day 12-ish, started putting a little bit more weight with the crutches on the boot, so exposing it to that load. The specialist said that I could go as tolerable, so load it up as much as tolerable. And to be honest, I've been able to tolerate it at the full 30 degrees quite easily, and I am full weight bearing on it now. I'm a little nervous about that because it's only 3 weeks, but we'll see what happens when I go back to the specialist next week. So I also started on day I think it was day 11 or day 12. I started back in the gym doing upper body stuff. Now this is really, really important because the main thing that we need is blood flow. If we're super sedentary, I can never pronounce that word, but if we're super sedentary all the time, we're not going to get our heart moving, and our heart is what pumps blood around the body. So it's important for me to be able to do what I can do, and work as hard as I can to maintain as much strength as possible. So I am working on going hard upper body, not letting this localized injury turn into a global weakness, so that when I start training again, it's going to be it's going to put me at a real deficit, and I expose myself to the opportunity of injuries, not just here but everywhere else, because I've become so weak. So it's really important that I maintain as much strength as possible around my entire body. So upper body work, opposite leg work, really important. And then I'm slowly and progressively going to expose this leg to more work. So this is week 3 for me, and I'm going to start moving my hip as much as possible. So doing anything I can that doesn't stress the calf in any way. Right? It doesn't stress my foot, doesn't stress the calf, but it's really going to work. If I can get my quads working, if I can get my glutes working back here, if I can get my hip moving the way a hip moves, and we just, if you think about a hip moves, it flexes, it extends when it goes back behind us. This is called abduction, this is called adduction, and then it internally, externally rotates. So I'm going to do as many of those movements as possible without putting any weight on that, and I'll share them with you guys as I'm going. And my idea is, again, maintain as much function here as possible. I'm not going to do any like rehab work on my actual ankle and calf and tendon until I get to a specialist who gives me the all clear for that. I'm not going to play around with that because I think that's out of my scope, and I don't have enough sensation, I don't have enough feedback, I don't know what I should be pushing through and what I shouldn't be pushing through. Whereas everything else, as long as I feel like I'm not putting any pressure on my calf, I feel like I'm good to push and push hard. A couple of things that I will look at is swelling. If I'm working hard, if I'm pushing really, really hard and I notice my swelling going up, then I'm going to back off. But if I'm noticing my swelling maintaining or decreasing, then clearly the work I'm doing is not inflammatory overload. So I think it's good. I'm going to look at pain. If I feel more pain than usual, I'm going to back off. That's why everything I'm going to do as I expose it, I'm going to write it all down and make sure that I know what I did, so I can look back the next day and be like, okay, well, what was different? Dun, 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 dun. Some things I'm looking at with my diet, really cutting down on alcohol. Anything I can do to take inflammation out of the diet, cutting down on the amount of carbs I'm eating. I don't need as much energy because I'm not moving around on the couch most of the day. I'm just laying down all the time. So don't need as much energy. Really upping my protein intake because we need to build muscle, right? We need to maintain muscle and build muscle. And then taking collagen supplements, and yeah, that's about it. Trying to get better at sleep because that's really where the beauty happens. Trying to be patient, which is hard. There's obviously this weird fear of anything that you know, every movement that you take, are you going to screw it up? Am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? So balancing fear with impatience, and ultimately, you know, staying curious, because you know, at the end, it'll be fine. You know, whatever fine is, it'll be there. It'll be that, and I'm kind of, you know, trying to just stay calm in that sense rather than trying to rush to something. If it means, you know, I'm not going to be jumping for 2 years, who cares, right? It's just as long as I'm processing and moving towards it, and just constantly reminding myself that, like, however long it takes, it's going to take. But if I do the things right, if I follow the process, it will be okay.